India haven't lost a test series at home in about 12 years, and I say this as India head into the second test against New Zealand after having lost the first one in Bangalore. Now, as we've seen India bounce back from losing the first test of a series in recent times. So, what are you expecting here? Also, is there any point in me asking what the pitch is going to be like? I mean, spin all the way, right?
Well, it is. I mean, at the end of the day, look, there are two issues at stake here, major issues. One is that you need to draw level in the series and then go on to try and go on to win it. You don't want to lose a home series after having won 18 on the trot. So that's one aspect. The other is, these are all valuable points that you have to accumulate for getting into the World Test Championship final. So losing the first match has been a bit of a setback. India is still firmly placed to be there, but you don't want to leave anything to chance. And there's, of course, the pride of performance of the team collectively as well as individual players. So I don't see India, taking it easy at all against New Zealand. And as you mentioned, one of the big factors is going to be the pitch. Already there's enough suggestion or enough evidence that this is going to be a black soil pitch, which means it's probably going to turn from ball one.
Yeah. So coming to the team composition now, we heard that Shubman Gill, who had a stiff neck last time, is ready to go, which means it's going to be a toss-up between Sarfaraz Khan and KL Rahul. Now, Sarfaraz got that brilliant century in the last match, even though India lost. But and KL Rahul arguably has not been living up to potential, even though he had that wonderful century in South Africa earlier this year, which a lot of people tend to forget. But what do you think captain and coach are going to do? Are they going to reward that century in the last game, or do you think they'll stick with the long rope to Rahul?
It's interesting that this debate or this discussion has been going on. So they're playing it close to their chest, both Rohit and Gambhir. I think, and this is my kind of surmise, is that you can't drop Sarfaraz, but you also want to test out Rahul. I mean, remember, this is in the context of the series against Australia, which is going to start in about a month's time. So, and Rahul's overseas record is actually quite fantastic. So, yes, you want him to be in the mix, but you also want to suss out his form. I mean, you can't take Rahul or any batsman who's not in form at all. So, you want to check him out in familiar conditions, in home conditions. He didn't do too well against New Zealand in the first innings. They're hoping that he'll do well if he plays here. But it would be very hard and harsh on Sarfaraz to miss out. When a batsman is in such glorious form, he wants to play more and more. He doesn't want to be sitting on the bench, whatever may be the logic or the reasoning of the others around him, especially the team management. So it's not an easy call to make at all for the team management, and I wonder how this one will fall. Remember also, it's interesting, Anirudh, that one of the guys who's drafted into the squad is Washington Sundar. Now, we know that Ashwin didn't have a great first test match, but Ashwin is a formidable player. So, just getting Washington Sundar in doesn't mean that he's going to be replacing Ashwin. No, I think they just want to kind of make sure in the next couple of weeks, maybe next 10 days, the 2 test matches that are going to be played, that they have the right mix available for Australia. So I see Washington Sundar as one of the potential candidates to be in the squad for the tour of Australia. So it's these next 10 days, I'm talking of the 2 matches, one is in Pune, the other is in Mumbai, the 3rd test match. These are going to be very interesting. And all these players who we are talking about, especially Rahul and Ashwin, they have to kind of do enough to justify not just their high rating, but that they fit into the game plan for Australia.
Yeah. Talking of Mumbai, we also have news from Mumbai cricket, which is that Prithvi Shaw has apparently been dropped from the Mumbai Ranji squad for indiscipline and fitness reasons. This young man has already had quite a bumpy ride as far as his career is concerned, Ayaz. But seeing that as you're a veteran of the Mumbai circuit, where do you stand on this decision, and where do you see the road ahead for him?
I stand with the team selection committee and the team management, because why would they lose out on a player like Prithvi when you want to do well in the Ranji season? You just won the Irani Trophy. You haven't had a great first match. Bombay lost the first match. So there is something amiss. So, and I think what is happening in Prithvi's case is this is becoming a kind of a frequent occurrence in his career, and which is not reflecting well on him personally, I think. At the end of the day, he has to, announce to the world in words or through deeds, or preferably both, that, he just takes his career very seriously, whether it's maintaining fitness, whether it's about issues of discipline and so on. For a young guy who's so precautious, so talented, it would be a shame if he's lost to Indian cricket. But obviously the trajectory is not going in the right direction at all for Prithvi.
Yeah. So moving on to the England-Pakistan series, another very interesting series. Now they head into the third test match, series level at 1-1. And we now know that England are going in with three spinners, and you know what Pakistan spinners did last time. They took all 20 wickets. And what are you expecting from that third match in Rawalpindi? And what did you think Pakistan unlocked in that last match to turn around their fortunes? I mean, there's not a lot of talk about Babar Azam now, is there?
Yeah. No, I think Babar Azam and Naseem Shah and Shaheen Shafrizi, we have to talk about in some other day. As far as this series is concerned, I think what Pakistan got right is that they understood how vulnerable this English team is against spin, and actually they should have known it much better, at least on subcontinent pitches. Now I say that with some qualification, because the last time England went to Pakistan, they beat Pakistan 3-0. But we saw England stumbling badly after winning the first test against India. The minute the pitches changed and the spinners got into their own, Ashwin and Jadeja and Akshar Patel, of course Bumrah was always there. So England just kind of, they just were vanquished so easily, so to speak. Now I think that they got exposed again in the second test match. Yes, it was an overused pitch, if I might use that term, because one match had been played there and another match being continued on the same pitch. It's a bit of an anomaly in international cricket, but hey, I mean, England should have expected it. I think somewhere, baseball, if things are not going well for the batsman, doesn't seem to work. It's, we've seen that occurring often enough. I mean, it's very exciting. In the first test match, they got 800 plus runs. Harry Brook got 300 plus. So, against a Pakistan attack, which had a couple of spinners, but on Pakistan soil, that was a tremendous achievement. But they don't, and I think, okay, so let me also put it this way, that apart from Joe Root, against good spinners on turning tracks, the batting is looking very fragile. And particularly, I would say, Ben Stokes, he's just not been able to come. I mean, he's such a fantastic player. And as a batsman on subcontinent pitches, if you look at his record, it's very, very mediocre. So he's becoming a bit of a weak link batting at number 6, because they're just not getting enough runs. And, at the end of the day, you need to give your bowler something to bowl at.
Yeah. So lastly, we move away from cricket, but still stay with cricket, in that we know that the next edition of the Commonwealth Games, to be held in Scotland, will not have major disciplines like cricket, hockey, badminton, things that India is traditionally good at. So there has been a lot of furor online. People are saying there's geopolitics at play, but the organizing committee is saying that, look, we're sticking within our budget. It's very tight. And this was moved from, I think this was supposed to be held in Australia, Victoria, and they moved over to Glasgow. So they just want to stick within budget. So what is your take here?
So, I mean, there are two aspects to it, Anirudh. My take is that if it's beyond your budget, you should have put your hands up and not accepted it and let somebody else run the show. I mean, if you're going to drop so many disciplines, and obviously India has a right to be peeved, because a lot of these disciplines are costing India the medals. I mean, cricket, hockey. Hockey is, has been one of the constants in Commonwealth Games, Asian Games and Olympic Games from time immemorial. Cricket, you could say, has been more out than in. But look at it also from an audience point of view. Now, if you want the Indian audiences to be participating in the Commonwealth Games, when I say participating as spectators, as fans, and if you remove cricket from it, both men's and women's, it's not going to be there, then obviously it's going to take a toll of the spectatorship. I don't think it's a very wise thing to do, because what follows the spectators is also the sponsorship. So I think, and then badminton not being there also affects India badly, because none of the, Asian countries and giants in the sport are going to be there. So India had chances of a rich haul of medals there. Also shooting. So I think that these are, whether it is deliberately done to ensure that India does not get enough medals, is difficult to kind of validate, but it seems strange. The other thing which I want to say, and this is equally relevant in my opinion, is India should have lobbied harder. This information, this news has been swirling around for a while, that, some disciplines are going to be dropped. And India should have been smarter and wiser in saying, hey, you can't do this, or whatever it is, being a little more aggressive. Maybe it would have come to some benefit or not, we don't know. And the third part is that India also, if you want to be a sporting nation, you need to wise up, because you have to start being or excelling in disciplines which are not going to be kind of bumped off so easily. So at the Olympic levels, if you want to win, you have to be very good in track and field, not just shooting and wrestling and the occasional medal in athletics. You're still waiting for cricket to come into the Olympics. Hockey, yes, we've been doing well, but we need to do better, especially in the women's section, and so on. So I think that there is no one way of looking at it. There are multiple ways. I think India, there's so much interest in sports now. I think that India is growing fast as a sporting nation. But in growing fast, you have to make sure that you accelerate not just in the disciplines that you have historically done well, but also explore new ones like gymnastics, like swimming, certainly all the other, verticals within track and field. I think that's really the way to go.
Yeah, well said. And as I said earlier, the second test between India and New Zealand starts tomorrow, and we'll come back to you right after that. So that's it for this episode of Sportsroom. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Cheers, Abhiru.